Welcome into T4G Gamers. Today we are going to be talking about a secret signing method for DNs in Madden 23 franchise mode. Hit that like button. Every time you hit that like button, it helps us launch to the top, the tip of the top of the top. All right, comment down below even if you guys got something negative to say. Let us know what you guys think about this, because this needs to be fixed. Even if you have something negative to say, make sure it's constructive. That's all we ask, is just make sure it's constructive. Okay, not everyone's going to agree with us, and that's fine. Now, Madden has always tried to patch our stuff. They've created settings, is what it seems like. They've created settings to stop some of our stuff. We've released the SAR for 5 years, and it's ridiculous. And we still get people commenting, this is patched. It's not patched. If you guys been a long-time follower of us, you know that Madden's just basically said, all right, there's nothing we can do. We literally got them to a point where they're just like, nah, we'll just create some settings or something. And that, we don't know that for sure, but it looks to be the case that they have done that with the roster protection settings. And that's a way that they've tried to stop it. And that's okay. It was a smart potential fix. It really was. So I don't know why they don't have guys in their organization that are going through their game like we go through their game. I don't know if they do pay someone to do that and they're just not very good. I'm not trying to get you fired if you work at Madden, but it seems like Madden might have us on the old bookmark and they're just saying, hey, we'll get it for free. We don't have to pay nothing. But that in and of itself frustrates me too, because it means you don't take your game seriously. This stuff's not that crazy. I mean, I don't know. But with that being said, this needs to be fixed, because there ain't no rhyme or reason to why this is the case. So let us know down in the comments below of what you guys think about what we're going to show you, because this is ridiculous. One big thing that you guys need to know with this is development does not play a part in contracts. Development is like having a very good scouting report. That's 100%. If you have an X factor, if you surround them with good players, the right players, the right schemes, playbooks, what have you, you put them in the best position to succeed, that they have a very good chance of becoming elite in the NFL, right? However, just because they might have a high dev trait does not mean that the player will want to receive a bigger contract over another player with a lower dev trait at the same overall. And the same works in reverse. So the dev trait is only for you to decide if the player is worth going after. Now, obviously, the dev trait should be taken into consideration. There's no doubt about that. When it comes to DNs in Madden, dev trait should be looked at very closely, okay? Because the money just gets to very high levels. You could end up paying a guy $123 million, and if you have the same overall and the guy's a star dev, you're going to be paying the same price. Now, I don't know how this guy would have the same overall as a star dev, but hey, weirder things have happened. So just understand that. Look at that and say, I'm going to be paying the same amount for this guy if he is a X Factor or if he is a normal dev. Should I sign this contract, right? But also understand there's times I take chances on him. I won't take a chance on a guy who is a normal dev that's a high overall. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a chance on a guy who's maybe a star dev, superstar dev, of course, but a star dev, because I know one thing about DNs is with a little bit of luck and putting them in the right spot with the right system, they're going to succeed, okay? And I have a good chance of boosting that development. Other positions are a little bit harder. DNs are a little bit easier than most positions. Another huge thing is that a player's age does not influence the contract. I want you guys to also know that. It does not. A player could be 34, 37 years old, and that's not going to influence the amount of the contract. What it influences is the amount of years on the contract. This is why we've said to you guys previously is make sure you guys are waiting until the end of the year when regression sets in for you to sign some of these players that you believe are on a regression series. Now, you're looking at, when the years start cutting off, it can be around 31 years old. It could be around 29 years old. And that's when they'll start asking for less years. All right. But there's other variables that play a factor in this. Now, another thing is overall is the second biggest factor. That's weird, isn't it? Doesn't make sense. Everyone's already saying in their head, it's overall. Overall's the main determining factor, T4G. That is not 100% accurate. This is why it needs to be fixed, because it doesn't make sense. Overall should be the main determining factor. not the second biggest factor, which is just so strange. So let's break this down here. Myles Garrett listed as a right end. He wants a total of 4 years for $62.4 million. If you see that 4-year right there, that's the salary. And to the right, the signing bonus is the guaranteed money. Well, if you equal those two, it equals up to the total, which is $123 million. Pretty simple, right? So let's break down the contract. $28.2 million, $28.9 million, $31.6 million, and $33.6 million. Not too terrible, but still, that's a lot of money. Obviously, you can see my remaining cap. I can't afford it at the time. Of course, I'd be able to figure out a way, but that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of pepper. Okay, Nick Bosa, same thing, right end. He wants $42 million in salary, $44 million in signing bonus for a total of $86.9 million. You look at his contract, you see it's pretty close to the same. One's a 98 overall, one's a 99 overall. Okay, so you see that it's very close, right? Now, here's where things get weird. So let's go to the edit the player here, and we'll show you the actual breakdown. So we're going to move him to left end, right? Moving him to left end, you see the numbers change there a little bit. Now he doesn't want a 4-year deal. He wants a 3-year deal. Overall didn't change. His position, relatively speaking, did not change. He went one side of the defensive line to the other side of the defensive line. That's it. That's all he did. There's nothing different from a right end compared to a left end. Zero difference. Okay, there is not a difference between these two that you can say, well, this is the clear. Right ends are always better than left ends. Now let's look at the contract here. Now he wants $19.9 million, $21.1 million, $22.4 million. So if we add that up, okay, we add that up in a 3-year difference, you will save, with Myles Garrett being a left end, you will save, get this, $26.1 million in just 3 years. Think about what you can do with that money. $26.1 million from him just being a left end compared to a right end. And, you know, we'll use these two as our constant for this scientific experiment. Okay, same thing with Bosa. Maybe it's just Myles Garrett. Maybe he's just the guy. Well, he's not, because the same thing happened here. He wants the same exact money, and the difference of savings here is $23.6 million. Madden, explain this to me. Please explain this to me. Explain this to another DN. I would love to hear a franchise tell a left end, you are worth $26 million less than the right end, who is doing the same numbers. You know what contracts should be based out of, Madden? Let me just give you this. Instead of maybe even an overall, how about this? The overall should be dictated based upon the numbers each year. You should have some kind of variables going in. If the player hits these numbers, okay, his overall should be influenced based upon his yearly numbers and his last 3 years of consistency or what have you. You could create an entire chart and system with variables on if A, then B, then blah, blah, blah. And you could do all this. We could do it ourselves, and we don't even have the resources that Madden has. And it's insane. Okay? So right ends get paid way more money. You're talking a whole extra year. Think about that. In year 3, in 2025, he's getting $22.4 million. He's getting an extra year of contract just because he is a right end compared to a left end. So what's next? And unfortunately, as much as we want a realistic game, we're still far from getting it. There's no reason that a right end should be worth $26 million more than a left end at the same overall in development. Zero. Even if you could have your left end get 40 sacks in a year, and that's not going to change anything. It won't change anything. So we hate to recommend this, but what we're recommending is something simple. Sign left ends and move them over. And I know some people hate signing guys at one position and move them over because it feels unrealistic, but explain to me the realism. Explain this to me of why a guy is $26 million more because he's on one side of the D line over the other side of the D line. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So there's no rhyme or reason to this of why they're that much more expensive, but I would just say this: do not sign right ends. Just don't sign them. Sign left ends, particularly when we're talking high overalls. When they're lower overalls, it's not too bad. Sometimes you can find a right end that's a little bit cheaper than a left end. But when they get to the high overall mark, that's where you start having a problem. Okay, when you get to the big boys, the big dogs, that's when they're like, yo, we want almost $30 million more than that other guy just because he plays left end. It just doesn't make sense. So when you're talking the big guys, you're talking the guys who make tons of cheddar, or the guys that are really, really big in overall, your high 90s, go after left ends. Do not go after right ends, because you can afford, think about it, if you sign 2 of these guys, or let's just say one, $26 million, what can you do with $26 million in the course of 3 years? You can do a lot. Okay, I can tell you that right now. You can sign a heck of a lot of good backups. You can sign a really good player for, a short period of time, because you're looking at like $8.7 million or 8.2 in 1 year, 8.7 in 1 year, 9 point whatever. That's a lot of money that you could be spending on a good halfback or what have you. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know down below what you guys think of this, because this is ridiculous.